Hello dear students, I'm back with a new video. Today's video is about energy and types of energy part 1. I have divided this chapter into two parts, energy part 1 and energy part 2. Alright, so this part we are going to talk about kinetic energy and potential energy and numericals related to kinetic and potential energy. So basically this chapter is divided into two parts, part 1 and part 2. Part 1 comprises of only kinetic and potential energy and its numericals, and part 2 is comprises of all other forms of energies. So let's begin. What is energy? The ability to do work is called energy. The capacity to do work is called energy. So the ability to do work is called energy. So types of energies. We have several types of energy like chemical energy, potential energy, gravitational potential energy, kinetic energy, elastic potential energy, strain energy, magnetic energy, electrical energy, sound energy, nuclear energy, and thermal energy or internal energy. So many kinds of energies are there. But I told you that today we'll be dealing only with the two kinds. One is the gravitational potential energy and the second one is kinetic energy. Right, so let's begin. So here is nature of energies. Energy is all around us, children. We hear energy as a sound. You see energy as a light. We can feel energy in the form of wind. A living organism needs energy for growth and movement. We use energy when you hit a tennis ball, compress a spring, or lift a grocery bag. We need energy for it, right? So energy is what basically it is nothing but the ability to do work. So energy is all around it, so it's become very important for us to study about energy and its types, right? So let's talk about the first kind, like here is. So comes here the law of conservation of energy. Now when we say energy is ability to do work is called energy, so we are also talking about the law of conservation of energy. What is this law of conservation says? That it says that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed. You cannot create energy, neither you can destroy it. Only what we can do is it can be only converted from one form into another. So energy can be converted from one form into another, and hence the total amount of energy in the universe remains constant. So total energy of the universe never changes, or rather it remains constant. So energy is neither created. If you switch it on, the light energy is not created, it is just converted from electrical energy to light energy. So energy is neither created nor destroyed. It can only be converted from one form into another. And that is why we say the total energy in the universe remains constant. And this particular thing is called as law of conservation of energy. Right? Moving on the first kind of energy, everybody, which is nothing but called as kinetic energy. What's kinetic energy? So anything that has mass and the movement has kinetic energy. Anything which has a mass and it is going to move will have kinetic energy for sure. But if there is no movement, the kinetic energies become zero. So, so anything that has mass and the movement has kinetic energy, and sometimes we define it as energy on account of its motion, an object's motion. It's called as kinetic energy. So the kinetic energy of an object in this case is given by a relation. Kinetic energy is half mv square. So half mv square. So 1 upon 2 m into v square here. Here m is called as mass of the object. V is the velocity of the object. Here is need to note, greater the mass or velocity of the moving object, the more is the kinetic energy. Similarly, lesser is the mass or lesser is the velocity, lesser is the kinetic energy. So kinetic energy and mass, kinetic energy and velocity, they are directly proportional to each other. So more mass, more kinetic energy, more velocity, more kinetic energy. If the same things are less, so the kinetic energy also reduces. Right. So let's deal with that. The greater the mass or the velocity of a moving object, as we said, the more is the kinetic energy. You can see that here we have got the objects. We have got this mass is more. Okay, it is moving at 100 kilometers per hour. Okay, there is another light object which is moving with 100 kilometers per hour, but since the mass is more, so obviously the one which is having the more mass will have a greater kinetic energy, right? Similarly, now I have got two lighter objects. One is moving with 80 kilometers per hour, one is 100 kilometers. All right, look at this here. So first one, this was having more mass, this is having less mass. Both are having the same velocity. Though the velocity is same, since the mass vary, this mass is more, so that is why the kinetic energy of this is more. If I have the two objects, their masses are same, but if the velocities are different, again the kinetic energy changes. So these two have got the same mass, but kinetic energy is changing here. This has got velocity as 100 and this velocity is 80. So obviously the kinetic energy of 100 kilometers per hour will be more, and the other one it is going to be less. So that is what we told, that either mass increases or velocity increases, kinetic energy will increase, right? So these are the different kinds of the places we can see where the kinetic energy is involved. So everywhere wherever the object is moving, kinetic energy is there. So remember this, the kinetic energy is on account of an object's motion, movement. All right, we're going to deal with numericals based on this. So let's talk about the first numerical example. What is the kinetic energy of a 1500 kilogram car going at suburban speed of 14 meters per second? Alright, so here is, we have got a mass, we have got velocity, that's speed, right? So let's solve this. So kinetic energy is half mv square. So we know that half into m is given as 1500 kilogram, right? And speed is given as, that is velocity is given as 14 meters per second, right? So 14 ka square. So here is kinetic energy is equals to, that's become 147,000. So 147,000 kilogram meter square upon second square. Now this kilogram meter square upon second square, instead of that you can simply write joule, right? So if you want to remove these three zeros also, so this is written as kilo, so I am writing kilo here. For this replacement I have got a joule, and this for three zeros replacement I have got kilo, and that is why I am writing small k. So it become 147 kilojoule or 147,000 joule, whichever answer you would like to say, right? Moving on to second numericals. Second numerical is a kilogram object or meteorite strikes the moon at 11 kilometers per second. How much kinetic energy it has? So very simple to understand. Kinetic energy is half mv square. So half into 1, that's the mass, into now 11 kilometers per. So kilometer per second is not the SI system or not the CJ system, but we need the SI system, that is meters per second. So 11 kilometer is become 11,000 meters per second. So it's become 11,000. Now when you multiply, you get 60,500, and that is 60,500, and that is 000. So basically I can write this as 60.5 megajoules. Okay, like we had a kilo was 3. See, it's become very difficult for me to read. I was not reading it purposely because we have got the advantage of physics that we can write in such a way that the we don't have to remember that what to read and how to read. So instead of 60, 500,000 whatever, instead of that I can simply read as 60.5 megajoule, right? Now we had a kilo was 3, now mega is 6. So you will say, where is the 6 zeros? We've got 3 zeros plus 2 zeros, that's 5 zeros, and that is why I've taken this 5 also, and we have put the decimal, before 5. So I am considering this also, that is why the decimal is here. So total is become 6 for us. So that is why when you want this to be written like this, you have to multiply with 1 into 10 raised to 6. that's mega, you call it as. Okay, so if 3 zeros are there, you call it as kilo. When 6 zeros are there, we call it as mega. So the kinetic energy of the meteorite strikes the moon is 60.5 megajoule. Alright, so that's all about the kinetic. We'll move on. Next is potential energy. Again, very important. Potential energy is of many kinds, but one kind has got advantage, that is GPE. So GPE, which is called as gravitational potential energy, has got an advantage that this GPE is also can be called as potential energy. It means I'm trying to say that GPE, if I'm not calling it GPE, you can simply call it as potential energy, but any other form of potential energy, you just simply cannot call it as potential energy. Supposingly, I have a chemical potential energy. I cannot call chemical potential energy only potential energy. I cannot call electrical potential energy as only potential energy. I cannot call magnetic potential energy as only potential energy. But yes, GPE, that is gravitational potential energy, has an advantage, okay, that we can only call it as potential energy. Instead of calling GPE, we can also call potential energy, but no other forms of potential energy can be called as. You have to use the particular field name with that. So either you can call it as GPE or potential energy, same thing. So now GPE is also called potential energy, which is nothing but the energy stored in a system. So GPE is on account of its position. So what is GPE or what is the potential energy? It is account of its position, that is height or rest. If the object is at height and rest, it has a potential energy stored in it. It is the energy that can be released to become a kinetic or another form of energy. Obviously, when it is at one position and you release it, it transforms into other form. That's basically its kinetic, or the other forms of energy can be. The formula for GPE is called as mgh. Okay, that is mass. GP is gravitational potential energy. M is called as mass in kilograms, very important. G is called as acceleration due to gravity or gravitational field strength. G is called as what? Acceleration due to gravity or gravitational field strength. Okay, here H is called as height. H is called as height above the Earth's surface, and that should be in meters, point to be noted. So mass in kilogram and the height in meters. Value of G is actually it is 9.8 meter per second square or 9.8 Newton per kilogram. But for all calculation purposes, we take the value of G, that is acceleration due to gravity or gravitational field strength. We take it as 10 meters per second square or 10 Newton per kg. So for calculation, we take it as 10. But what is the actual value of G? 9.8. But which value are you supposed to take? You will take it as 10 kilogram, 10 Newton per kilogram or 10 meter per second square. So that's all about GP. Let's talk about the numericals, or let's various places where the potential energy is involved. You can see the various places here where the potential energy, you can see here. When you're stretching this uh, bow and arrow, of course potential energy, elastic potential energy is there. When you lift something like here magnet, so obviously magnetic potential energy is there. When object is at height, it has gravitational potential energy. So we have got a various forms of potential energies. Like you have a bullet has got a chemical, so that's chemical potential energy. All right, so again you have got this granite. Again granite has a chemical in it, so it's chemical potential energy it has, right? So these are the various forms of potential energies. Okay, but we are only talking about GPE today, that's gravitational potential energy. Right, let's move on numericals based on gravitational potential energy, that is GPE. The first one says that um, a 2 kilogram hammer is raised to a height of 0.4 meter up, that's 0.4 meter. What is its potential energy? Right, so basically we're talking about we have got a 2 kilogram hammer which is raised to a height of 0.4 meter. Okay, what is this potential energy? Potential energy is given as mgh. So the value of m is what? 2 kg. What is the value of g? We have already taken 10. What is the value of h going to be? 0.4. So here we will take it as right now I have taken 9.8, but then you are supposed to take the value as 10. So finally it will be changing here. You can have the values. Okay, so if you take it as 10, it's going to be 4 2s are 8. So here is 7.84, or simply if you take the value of 9.8 instead, that if you take 10, the value comes as 8 kilogram meter square upon second square, which comes as 8 joule or 7.84 joule when you take in 9.8. So the potential energy of the hammer is 7.84 joule, or if you take the value as 10, it's going to be 8 joule. Right, moving on next, second numerical. We drop this 0.1 kilogram apple, okay, from a height of 1 meter. What energy an apple hits the ground with? Okay, at 1 meter, 1 meter is the height we've been given. Potential energy formula is mgh, right? So m ka value is given as 0.1 kilogram, which we substituted here, into g ka value is given as 10 meter per second square, and the value of h is given as 1 meter. So I told that g ka value is, calculation purposes we are taking 10. In the last one we had taken 9.8, but then I told that you can take 10. Right, so if I multiply 10 as 0.1, it's become 1. 1 into 1 is 1. So finally the answer is potential energy is 1 joule. So the potential energy of the apple through which it is hitting the ground will be 1 joule. Right, so thank you very much for learning kinetic and potential energy, and I will be back soon with the other forms of energies. Till then, thank you so much. Bye.